Times 500 in just a few moments, but first, a few points. He's known for his exploits in Indy-type racing cars. He's won the Indianapolis 500 4 times, but he certainly is no stranger to stock car racing either. He's already won a pair of 500-mile NASCAR events on this speedway. So for a further look at last Sunday's competitors, here is CBS Motorsports editor Ken Squire at the Ontario Motor Speedway for the LA Times 500. Ken?
From one of the most beautiful automobile racing facilities in the world, the Ontario Motor Speedway in California, welcome to the running of the $168,000 Los Angeles Times Charities 500. I'm Ken Squire here with the final race on the 1977 calendar for the NASCAR Grand National Automobiles. 40 cars are out here and gridded, ready to go, and it's a historic start. We're on the pole, looking for his 186th career win, Richard Petty, level across North Carolina, and it is the last time we will see this particular car in competition on a super speedway. Next year, a new car decreed by NASCAR for the Dodge drivers. And so on the front row today, we have not only Petty, but a second Dodge prepared by Kentucky's Harry Hyde and driven by the outstanding new driver, Neil Bonnett, for the front row in this last race in the $4.5 million 30-race series. Covering the action with us here in the expert commentary position, and right now to take a look at turn one from Upper Boddington, England, David Hobbs.
NASCAR drivers are used to leaning their 3,800-pound projectiles into the steep banks of the southern stock car tracks. Well, they're out of luck here, because in 1969, this track was built as an exact replica of the famous Indianapolis Raceway, and the turns here are only 9 degrees banked, which brings those speeds down a lot. And these 3,800-pound projectiles want to leave the Ontario Speedway at a great rate. So the handling has to be right on these cars. Chassis is very important. With 3,300-foot straightaways, they can do 185 miles an hour, which is a drafter's paradise. The only thing is, what are you going to do with the draft at the end of it, because they're one-groove turns. So the car we see win today is going to handle better than its competitors. It has to have at least equal engine, and the driver just may have to be on his toes a little bit more than usual.
Covering the pit action today, let's go to him right now as the drivers prepare for the start. Here's Brock Yates.
Kenley, there's a special excitement about the last race of any season, and it's no exception here. We've got Richard Petty trying to get his last victory with this old warhorse before he puts it out to pasture. We've got Ricky Rudd trying to maintain a very narrow lead over Sam Summers in the race for Rookie of the Year title. We've got CALE YARBOROUGH trying to win $500,000 for the first time any Grand National driver had ever done that in a full season. And he's also trying to make a perfect finishing record, 30 finishes out of 30 races. And we've got a lot more stories going on down here in the pits in this race, and we'll be here till the last wheel stops turning. So we'll talk with you later in the day as the race progresses.
As the drivers prepare for this 500-mile race, let's take a look at the starting lineup. On the pole, car number 43, winner of 185 previous races, 6-time NASCAR Grand National Champion Richard Petty. Flanking him in a second 1974 Dodge automobile from Hueytown, Alabama, winner of 1 Grand National race, the outstanding sophomore driver Neil Bonnett. Then in row number 2, car number 51, the 6-time United States Auto Club champion and 2 times winner here in stock car racing at the Ontario Motor Speedway, A.J. Foyt of Houston, Texas. Riding in position number 4, car number 21. The Wood brothers have won this race 3 times. Their driver today has won it on 1 previous occasion, David Pearson of Spartanburg, South Carolina. In the 3rd row, starting in 5th position, 2-time and defending NASCAR Grand National Champion, winner of 9 Grand National races this year, a total of 49 in his career. Driving the Junior Johnson prepared automobile from Timminsville, South Carolina, it's CALE YARBOROUGH. And flanking YARBOROUGh in this row will be the sensation of the 77 season, winner of 6 Grand National races this year, including that unbelievable Dixie 500 just 2 weekends ago on CBS. That's Darrell Waltrip. Moving back into row number 4 is car number 1, winner of 2 Grand National races this year, the Haas Ellington prepared Chevrolet, the driver from Hueytown, Alabama, Donnie Allison. In the 8th starting position, former Grand National champion and Daytona 500-mile winner in car number 72 from Ellaby, North Carolina, and Detroit, Michigan, the ex-taxi cab driver, Benny Parsons. Then in row number 5, car number 73. With a good finish today, he will win the NASCAR Western Grand National title, Bill Schmidt, car number 73. And beside him, racing before hometown folks with a very good qualifying position, from Porterville, California, in the junior Don Levy-prepared Ford, Richard Brooks. All right, we're just about ready for the command of fire engines. Let's go to the victory circle area of the Ontario Motor Speedway right now. A trio to do the honors: Steve Garvey of the LA Dodgers, Mackenzie Phillips, and Valerie Bertinelli of the CBS show One Day at a Time.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine.
You're right, Ken. It was a unique trio.
We'll be back with a start in just a moment. Here at the Ontario Motor Speedway, starting grid for this LA Times Charity 500 automobile race. There you see in row 4, Donnie Allison and Benny Parsons. Well back in the field, row 7, Buddy Baker and Bobby Allison are two previous winners of the event. Buddy Baker winning this race in 1975. Bobby Allison won it with a Matador in 1974. Field coming out of turn number 3. Remember now, 8-degree banking, just about flat for these automobiles. 1,600-foot straightaway to turn number 4. And then at 3,300 feet down these long straightaways, they build up speeds of over 180 miles per hour. Field just about set for the start. Here they are, entering the main straightaway. Impressive sight, David.
Very impressive and very well held back. The front row keeping the speed down and the field behind really packing up. Make a pretty dramatic start when the flag falls.
Coming down for the green flag. They are underway in the LA Times Charity 500. It is gang warfare into turn number 1 with Richard Petty going out in front. A.J. Foyt sneaking down the inside into second place. Running in third, it's Neil Bonnet. And the field successfully negotiating turn number 1. Richard Petty is in front. A.J. Foyt into second. David Pearson, last year's winner of this event, moving into third place. Neil Bonnet maintaining fourth as they go down the back stretch for the first time. Climbing to 160, 170, 180 miles per hour. And then how do you get into these turns, David?
With a great deal of difficulty, but A.J. Foyt's coming up inside of Richard Petty, and he slides by on the entry to turn number 3. A.J. Foyt doing just what you'd expect him to do on this track with which he's so familiar, having done thousands of laps here in Indianapolis.
Here's Richard Petty back on the inside. Coming up turn number 4. Petty drops that same car to the inside, and they're going to make it 3 wide in the main straightaway. Talk about traffic congestion. Here it is at 180 miles per hour across the line.
Those front 3 cars setting up a tremendous draft, Ken. These cars really being stuck along at great speed.
David Pearson has appropriated first position. Pearson deployed in first, and down into second spot is Neil Bonnet, the youngster in car number 5, motoring in second position to hit that short turn. This track just like Indianapolis. Here they are in the back straightaway. Neil Bonnet edging along, and look at this battle taking place for third position. That was Darrell Waltrip and A.J. Foyt for the lead. Bonnet on the inside is getting beneath the 3-time David Pearson. Here they are in turn number 3. Pearson edges, takes a look down the inside, and then tucks right back behind car number 5, Neil Bonnet. Around a complete lap number 2, and we'll have a time for you as to how these front cars are meandering around this track as they come back to the line. 59 1/10 of a second for 2.5 miles. They're averaging 152.28 miles per hour, and look at this warfare. A real skirmish for the lead. Pearson back on the inside. Running alongside of the high side, it is Neil Bonnet. A difference of about 15 years in age out here between these two. Still side by side, and David, that's what they said you couldn't do on this racetrack.
That's what I said they couldn't do on this track. Yeah, that's so much for the expert commentator. Look at that. 3 abreast going to 4 abreast.
Here's Darrell Waltrip dropping to the inside. He moves into second spot. A.J. Foyt goes to third. Meanwhile, maintaining the lead, Neil Bonnet of Hueytown, Alabama. He's never won on a super speedway, driving the Harry Hyde-prepared automobile.
There you got 2 of the youngest drivers in NASCAR, being this very, very experienced and very high-speed train.
Notice A.J. Foyt, number 51, in third. And here comes that car number 21 of Pearson in fourth, back with a lead. Here they are again, nose to nose at turn number 1, and Waltrip is taking the lead. Darrell Waltrip exerting pressure on Bonnett, grabs the inside, goes out in front. Bonnett comes back on the inside. For third position, it's David Pearson, low. A.J. Foyt, high in fourth, and then Cale Yarborough, meandering in fifth. Bonnett back to the inside for another stab at the lead. The skirmish really heating up. Bonnett is back in front, and look at this. It's Cale Yarborough to the inside, fighting beneath A.J. Foyt, pulling alongside David Pearson. David, this is just unbelievable.
But if they're going to keep this up for the next 500 miles, it's going to be very tough on machine and man. I just can't see them keeping this torrid pace up. But at the moment, the two youngsters are still leading, but not a very long lead. A tremendous race so far.
11 cars in the lead lap, and back there in 8th, staying right with the field, is Janet Guthrie today, looking very strong. But here's the big surprise. Bonnett, who's qualified well before, again today up in the front row, right now putting that car out into the lead, staying just in front of Darrell Waltrip. And here is Bill Smith, the West Coast champion, almost retiring. That means it'll be Phoenix tomorrow afternoon to decide the Western NASCAR Championship. He's fighting with Chuck Bound. The fight right now, the contention is Waltrip and Neil Bonnett. Darrell Waltrip down low. Puts the Chevrolet into first, Dodge in second, and it is Mercury running third as they come out of turn number 3. Waltrip.
Very low there, right below the yellow line, almost on the flat track, almost flat tracking, which is where he excels.
Donnie Allison in the pits. Problems on his automobile. Bad news for the Haas-Ellington crew. And look at the lead. First lead anyone's enjoyed today that Waltrip is beginning to develop. Hold the phone. Here comes Neil Bonnett. And that lead evaporates as they go down that 3,300-foot backstretch. Bonnett dropping low.
Bonnett's car seems to be very, very fast on these 3,300-foot straightaways. I don't know whether he has more power, but he can certainly use the draft to great effect.
Petty is in 5th. A.J. Foyt is in 6th. Benny Parsons in 7th. And in 8th is Guthrie. And there is car number 1. Donnie Allison's car being rolled back behind the wall, retired to the garage. A bad break for the man who's won 2 Grand National races this year.
In fact, the second bad break in 2 weeks for Donnie.
Leader is Waltrip. Bonnett is still there, tagging along right behind him in second. Brock Yates is standing by in the pits with Donnie Allison.
Donnie, out very early this afternoon. What happened?
Well, wire to the alternator shorted out and burned all the wiring harness stuff, and there's just no way we can get it fixed.
Slithering down to the inside of the racetrack, it's Darrell Waltrip in car 88, challenging once again as the field swarms into the backstretch. Here's Waltrip going up against Neil Bonnett. And here comes Cale Yarborough beneath Pearson, beneath Waltrip and Bonnett. It is Cale Yarborough for the lead. Bonnett shuts him off.
A great graphic demonstration there of the power of the draft. It just sucked Cale right up to those cars.
Waltrip goes back into second position. Yarborough drops to third. It's Pearson in fourth, Petty in fifth, A.J. Foyt in sixth. We have 11 cars running within 2.5 seconds of each other down this main straightaway at about 180 miles per hour. Look at this battle for the lead. It's Waltrip back on the inside. The Franklin, Tennessee campaigner just nudges the nose of old 88 out in front of Bonnett. Bonnett will have no part of it. He sticks on the outside. And that car of Bonnett really seems to handle these turns well no matter where he goes, David.
Well, he seems to have the power and he seems to have the handling, but he's doing a magnificent job behind the wheel, which is where it all boils down to.
Neil Bonnett in the lead. Here comes Cale Yarborough to challenge on the outside. And here comes Richard Petty in this astonishing LA Times 500. Midway on the backstretch, we've just had a crash, reeling off the wall. Car number 01, young Chuck Bound of Portland, Oregon, has crunched his automobile soundly, David.
He had a very big spin coming off turn 2 and finally ended up head-on into the wall, which, of course, has brought out a typical rash of NASCAR pit stop.
Under caution for the first time here in the Times 500 for Chuck Bound's car, lying across the track. He is all right. Car back badly thrashed. And there's number 27. Remember, this 27 is Sam Summers, Savannah, Georgia, running for Rookie of the Year, competing against Ricky Rudd with $10,000 at stake today. We asked Summers and Rudd if the tight point battle would change their strategy today.
It really don't change any, racing strategy on my part, because I always enter a race with the intention of running just as hard as I can possibly drive the car myself, and as fast as it'll go.